We failed? What do you mean, we failed?
The deadline was a deadline.
Please, Professor Fell, I can't fail. There has to be something we can do.
Perhaps. A very important creature recently escaped into the mystical archives. Retrieve it for me by noon, and I'll reconsider.
You won't regret this, Professor Fell.
Is it dangerous?
Chop chop.
We don't have long. We better... Huh?
That's the creature?
I got this.
For Lord!
Whoops.
Don't let them get away!
I got it. Wait. No, I don't.
Everyone, come on!
We're running out of time. Fortune favors the bold.
Go! Hold on!
Gotcha! Field trip's over. It's now or never.
The portal!
Ah, you're just in time. Good.
Oh!
I do hate a late lunch. Congratulations. You didn't disappoint me. Now for your next assignment.
I've always seen myself a student
Sup,
and a
Dan?
scholar of Magic the Gathering.
Not much.
So I feel right at home in the halls of Strixhaven. Today I will be speaking
DJ Long
folks
here in
who
house.
visit the coast
We
to
are
Wisconsin
live memeing
to learn
and
more
live
about this
reacting.
school and our second visit to its
We got
campus.
Strixhaven. We're
Welcome
watching
to
the
Secrets of
debut.
Strixhaven. Okay, we're going back to Strixhaven for Secrets of Strixhaven. I have a million questions. I guess the simplest thing to ask is what's going on?
Well, we are returning to the
Not a
plane
damn
of
thing.
Arcadios. This was really a chance for us
Like
to
it was
dive
a,
into everything
college
that's happened
ripoff
to this
of,
plane since
Harry
the
Potter.
last time we were here
Exactly.
in Strixhaven School of Mages. What's happened since the last time we were here? You know, the previously on
It's
Strixhaven.
because they didn't have the Harry Potter set and everyone's so anti
The
Harry Potter.
Phyrexians
So
invaded the multiverse, which included Arcadios
they want to
and
do
Strixhaven.
like Souls-like
Biblioplex was
it's
destroyed,
Potter-like.
There were a number of casualties.
The deaths of many professors and some students.
You really feel and see the scars of the invasion across Strixhaven and Arcadia.
From the very
Harry
beginning,
Potter
a lot of what's
ripoff.
going
I was
on with the
getting,
Return to set
like
is
the
what are
old
we doing
Dungeons
the
and
same as
Dragons
last time,
cartoon
and what are we
ripoff.
doing different from last time?
The main question you really always have to start with is, what do people love about this setting? What do we want to see
music's
again?
killing
What
me,
do we
guys.
need to take forward
Right.
because it's so core
I mean,
and foundational?
you
want
know,
there to be a lot of
'cause the
new
copyright
things, but you
stuff.
also want there to
Right.
be all that fan favorite stuff that you're delivering on again. Something very honest and true to the original.
You know, we're always iterating. We're always looking for a new way to approach something to like get our fans excited.
The original Strixhaven School of Mages
There we go.
was so much about each of the colleges, giving
Hey,
each
Game
of
of
the
Bob,
colleges an
it's good.
identity and making
K
players
Torque, how you
feel
doing,
what
bud?
they were each
Hey,
about.
Bob.
Prismari is our artistic
bad.
school.
They are the art students.
Big, flashy magic. It's very colorful. It's very lively.
You never want to miss a performance by the Prismari.
Lorehold, they have this very fighting, adventuring archaeologist vibe.
Outgoing and athletic and really want to venture out into the field.
Quandrix are the math geeks.
They are the sort of brilliant geniuses.
Math gets to really shine.
It's all about fractals
Wow, it almost
and
looks like her.
equations and exploring mathematics in the realm of magic.
Silverquill.
They are the College
Try
of
to put yourself
Eloquence.
in
They're
it.
highly competitive. They're very
exactly. That's always the
linguistic. They
MO.
have large
You
vocabularies.
don't see yourself, you're failing.
Silverquill is all about influence. They're very confident, a little arrogant. They're going to get their way.
Witherbloom.
We call them our goth punk students.
They're not afraid to get dirty, you know.
They are fiercely protective of the natural world, very much a celebration of the full cycle of life and death.
People really resonated with it the first time around. The first Strixhaven School of Mages was really Gen Ed. This is, 201. We're trying to, go a little deeper. A lot of awesome, cool things to discover.
And I think really the best way is to show you some of what's going on here.
Show, don't tell.
So,
Give me the cards.
Let's start with the dragons are back.
Beautiful.
We definitely couldn't return to Strixhaven without having the 5 Elder Dragons.
Everyone loves dragons. It's kind of hard to find someone, especially a Magic player, who's like, I don't like dragons.
You can't have a magic set I worked on without some dragons in it.
The fact that Strixhaven was started by these 5 elder dragons is one of my favorite parts of the story.
They came together and said, we want to create the best mystical university known to man.
They're each unique in their approaches to their scholarly pursuits, which is why their colleges are so different and the magic of each college is so different, but unique also in the way that their anatomy is dragons look, which is always really fun.
They're powerful dragons. They need to be more powerful than anyone else that we're going to be seeing on this plane.
They've got some really awesome abilities, really iconic designs, and just are a lot of fun.
Do you have a favorite?
Don't make me choose.
I know, but I'm trying to.
I mean, I think Lorehold's pretty awesome.
I agree.
So every single time we do a return to set, we like to poll our players, like, what do you want to see more of? What do you want to see less of? And what we heard loud and clear is people want to know what's going on in Arcadia. So it was really important for us to get outside of just the university itself.
We wanted to zoom the camera out a little bit and show off more of the world.
Expand the boundaries and go beyond just the school campus itself into Arcavios.
Last time, we really stayed on the college campus. And so for this set, we've actually developed 5 brand new field locations where our students go out and study the real world.
5 different research locations that the students go to that are really themed around the core ideas of the schools.
The fitting of the school's identity.
Being outside of the safety
Yep.
of the school.
Road trip,
especially in
Dan.
a world where spells and archaics exist, things can
All
get
right, you're
dangerous very,
driving.
very quickly.
If I'm a Lorehold student,
Guess
and
we're
I
not going
love
anywhere.
history, what is my road? Like, what is my field? Where am I going?
Well, the Lorehold location for this set is called the Fields of Strife, and it is an
Oh, I got some Fields of Strife for you.
Wow, what a wonderful,
Yeah,
what a
isn't it
wonderful
super fun?
outing.
I don't know if you knew, but Arcavios had a blood age. They were at war for about 700 years. The Fields of Strife are one of the locations of these epic ancient battlefields. Layers upon layers of warriors and spirits fighting each other, and the strange magic that pervades the location means that these spirits never really disappear. And so the students go there for a very
you'll
first-hand
never die.
account
Well,
of
you
what
know,
happened
whatever
during these battles.
you
One
tell
of the
yourself,
dangers is that strange magic
makes you
of the
feel better
location
when Aunt
can
Flo
sometimes
visits.
affect you, and every so often a student gets lost to the battlefield.
I mean, cool story,
It's
bro.
really the cast of characters for me. We brought back these characters because fans wanted to see what they're up to. A lot has happened on Strixhaven since the original. What are they up to now?
I think a lot of our players are going to be able to find themselves in these characters and really relate to their lived experiences. I love the fact that there's 5 different colleges and that you kind of get to choose and find your own identity, figuring out your own
Oh my God, they are,
self-expression.
like,
It's
in
kind of our
every
coming
single
of
one,
age
these
magic
people.
set where you kind of explore what does it mean to be a young adult? Who are you? What do you want to do with the world? What are your aspirations and what are your dreams?
Each of them
kind of represents a slightly different archetype from within the school.
I don't want to know about Killian and Rutha. They were sophomores in the original timeline. They were just drafted on commons. But they've elevated up to now commander-sized in the leads of the commander decks.
We get to see where they are in their journey now. How have they changed as they go from being young adults into the real world?
Oh, they want you to see what's going on in your own world in order to play a game. No, I don't care about that. I want to vacate my life when I play a game. I want to ignore my own world.
Lawyer. He's in the school you would expect. Silverquill.
He's been invited
Wow,
by
Raoul coming back as
Silverquill
black?
to be a guest speaker and a guest lecturer. And he's also here kind of part of that continuation of his investigations that he was doing way back in
Oh,
Blue
definitely
Arrow.
David
It will be a
was-
side story that focuses on him.
This was a really fun thing that we decided to do. I can't say too much about it, but I think our fans are really going to enjoy it.
And you'll notice one of some of the other cards that are going around. We have the mascots.
The whole point
Last
of
time we
playing
had the
games is to
mascots in each
vacate
school.
your
This
life,
time,
to
instead
kinda,
of
like,
only being on
suspend
token cards, we put them
everything
on a few
and
creature
make
cards
you
as well.
So the mascots
Yeah.
are
We'll see most
representative
of
in many
these.
ways of
Oh,
each of the
pest
schools.
mascots
I kind of
new
think of them as a
in
little bit
spirit.
somewhere between a familiar and like a summon. Kind of depends a little bit on the school. Witherbloom might be my favorite mascots. They're the pests, and they are
Are the
less
pestis?
familiars. They're not summoned. Witherbloom students use pests as ingredients and life essence for their spells, but sometimes they might grow a little attached to them. They are pests in part because they are a little bit of a nuisance, and they have been known to be a valid excuse for the pest ate your homework.
The pests are the best ones.
The pests are the
pests
best.
are the best. Do you agree with me?
Okay. No, the pests are sweet this time around. You know, they've elevated their animal shapes now. You know, Inklings used to be a little
They
blot.
still
Now
have
they're-
those weird mouths though, which is lots of teeth.
It's
It's like little lamprey faces.
I see there's a favorite clearly. Okay, that's fine. I thought Spirit Ox might be in contention.
Spirit
but
Ox is pretty good too.
That feels very heroic, you know?
We had a lot of fun making them even more playable, putting those extra types on the cards, but also really giving some more character, especially now that they're on their own creature cards, to each of these types of mascots. How do you feel about Exponent?
I feel exponentially awful the longer I look at a card like this.
Mathematics, self-indulgence.
I have to agree
through
with
and
him.
through.
Looking some at the art.
Conversations. Do we really want to expect players to know what 2 to the 5th is?
Math Magic is pretty exciting. It's one of those
Wow.
things that comes up in development and you're like, aha, this would be a fun joke, and then it stays in the file and it stays in the file, and at some point you have to have a conversation with everyone. You're like, are we actually keeping this in the set?
In case you haven't noticed, a lot of our game design are exponentially happy about Exponent. I think this card stayed basically the same.
Yeah, honestly, from like Notepad to conception, it stayed the same. Even the name of the card, which was kind of incredible. I was really excited to see people's responses. It's just really cool and bombastic. You can draw so many cards, or make your opponent draw a lot of cards.
Jadine, I think.
Hey,
you
Dan,
know the
how's your
answer
nap
to
going
this.
so far?
If I spend 10 for X, how many cards does target
Right.
player me draw?
Wait, so you're asking what 2 to the 10th is, which is, as everyone knows, 1,024.
I got 2 to these.
I did my homework before I sat down with you all, and I happen to know that if you spend 100
I'm sorry.
mana on Mathematics,
I want to like make fun of these
562
people.
trillion cards.
Same here.
Really bad.
You do not draw
Can we
those cards.
not talk with our hand for like 2 seconds?
Say target player.
As Magic grows and
I feel
expands
like
as
the
a
one
game,
guy's
we
gonna
get the
poke
opportunity
one of
to
those
take
girls in the
cards like
eye,
this,
with,
and
you know,
it's
because he's
something that
talking with his
people really enjoy.
fingers
People
pointing
read it and they
and
either love
waving
it or
his
hate it.
finger
I
around.
love that.
There's a pair of cards that I personally really
He's gonna
love.
put
This was
an eye out.
early development playtest name that game design put in, and we were just like, this is perfect. It's called Procrastinate, and it's just
Exactly,
literally
brother.
the art is this little frog, and he's asleep,
finally
and
a card.
he's procrastinating on his homework.
Procrastinate is one of my favorite cards. So just reminiscent of things I thought
You know,
about so
Investable,
much
the
in
reason
school.
why I
really
stopped
love
playing
cards like this, 'cause it
videos
basically
because they
allows you
made
to
me
take a
do a
real
lot
world
of
concept
math.
and then think,
If
what would this look like translated into a Magic
if
card?
math
Another
is going to be a
example of a card
major
name that
part
stuck
of
around from the beginning of the
Magic
file, 'cause it
now,
was
I mean,
so perfect
like
for the
big
idea of
math,
putting stun counters on
I
another
might not
creature. I
put
really
those
love
cards
that
in
we
my
get
deck.
this
Not at
little-
all.
I would say relatable.
Relatable moment.
I don't want to have to do
moments,
math.
yeah. Who amongst
Like
us?
Scoot Storm is
Stress
super
Dream also
powerful,
resonates a
but
lot.
like
It
I don't
really
like
takes
playing
me
because I don't want to
back
do the math.
School days and just a different era of my life.
Have you ever had a stress dream?
Yeah, I felt a little personally attacked when I saw these cards in the file. It's a little bit too close. to
People
home.
brought their
I thought I could
TCG
come to
games to
Magic to get
school
away
so they
from
can
the
ignore
horrors of
school.
Grad school, and yet stress, dream, and procrastinate.
Remind you that the horrors persist.
They persist, yeah. But persist is not a mechanic, right? No.
No, that's
Okay, fine. Very well. Okay.
I'm like, can we progress,
All right,
please?
Jadine. The only thing better than talking about Magic cards is playing Magic cards. Draw my card for turn. I'll play basic island, and I'm going to cast Landscape Painter. This is a card that looks like the dragon cards, but it's not. It has the word prepare on it. Can you please teach me how to play with this card?
Yes, you have found a prepared creature.
But I'd have to charge.
Prepare is one of our new mechanics. It is a mechanic that lets your creature cast a spell.
Prepare is awesome. I am so excited about this one.
Want
It's the
none
type
of
of
the
mechanic
milkshake
that
they're
once you see it, you're
Oh,
really
see, this
surprised
is
that you haven't
different.
done
See,
it
when it's
before.
prepared,
It is
you
a
may
mechanic
cast a
that
copy
isn't
of the
college
spell.
specific. It is
and
just
then-
everywhere in Strixhaven.
Creatures can enter prepared, and then they get to cast instants and sorceries.
And one of the really fun things about this is we were able to choose a lot of iconic spells through Magic's history, and so you get to have that feeling of casting these spells, some of which a lot of players have never cast before.
Emeritus of Ideation is an awesome blue creature.
The Emeritus cycle, casting really famous spells from Magic. Emeritus of Ideation,
This is the
cast
one that got all the
Ancestral
heat because of
Recall.
Ancestral
What is
Recall.
cooler than be able to cast something
But
like
it's
Ancestral
not.
Recall?
I've
You
certainly
gotta
never
pay for the
casted in
creature
my life.
first, so it's
Maybe
not
the
same
most
as just
powerful instant
Ancestral
ever
Recall.
made.
Our headliner for this set features art by Mark Poole, who's actually the original artist for Ancestral Recall. So
Okay,
we're
they're
really
gonna
excited
serialize
to
the
have him come back.
complicated card
Working
with
with
no
Mark
words.
Poole is always an
Cool art by
absolute
Mark
treat.
Poole, though.
He's just a delight to work with every time.
Seeing Ancestral Recall on a card is I don't know, it just brings back memories.
I've been playing Magic a long time, and before we were working on that card, I had never cast Ancestral Recall. And let me say, wow.
Grave Researcher is an awesome card. Black creature that gets to prepare Reanimate.
Oh, Reanimate.
One of the most
Oh.
iconic Magic cards of all
I
time.
thought we were gonna get Dark
we
Rit.
call these decks reanimation decks.
Joined Researchers is one of my favorite examples of a prepared card because it's a callback to Secret Rendezvous, which was a card in the original Strixhaven set, which featured these two characters from different schools meeting surreptitiously
Aw,
with
isn't
each
that
other,
cute, Dan?
sharing information, and I just always loved that card so much.
Biblioplex Tomekeeper is one of these cards
Yeah.
that gets to have a little fun with the prepare mechanic. A lot of these prepare creatures enter prepared, but maybe don't have a way to re-prepare themselves, but we wanted to come up with something that allowed you to re-prepare some of your creatures, and we thought it was fun to have some counterplay so you can unprepare something too.
Paradigm is the other mechanic in the set that isn't tied to any specific faction.
Paradigm was a way for us to really
That other
express
chick
that this is a
always
set
looks
about
like she's
instants and
super
sorceries.
excited,
It features
Dan.
on these thesis type cards, and the idea
Right.
is that
The one with
it
glasses?
shows you an encapsulation
No,
of
no,
what it looks like
yeah.
at the end of your study at Strixhaven. What is your big final magical spell?
So for example, with Improvisation Capstone being your final performance, this was a chance for us to really showcase one of the students giving their final graduation performance at Spectacle Summit.
It is a
I
cycle.
feel like I've
There's one
seen
for
the
each
same
color,
exact
and I find
art
these really
on one of the
exciting
Naruto
because
cards.
once you cast it, you basically get to
Naruto?
cast it for free
Yeah.
over and over and over.
Naruto
again
is
The
throughout
cool.
dancing with the
colleges,
flames
though,
around,
are
and like
still
one
really
of the
important.
Firebender
We
cards.
decided the best thing to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
was to give
I
them
get
each
you.
their own
The
mechanic.
same exact
so in
art.
each of these, the keywords are really
But no cool
getting to
headband.
kind of a core
Not
idea
Naruto.
of
What
all
was
of
it?
the schools.
It adds depth and it also
Earth-
adds
the
accessibility.
Avatar.
Keywords are really nice in
Oh, you're
draft
thinking Avatar,
because
okay, yeah.
they help
Yeah, it felt like the
players
same exact art was on
path
an
their way
Avatar card.
into a school.
The Silver Quill mechanic is repartee.
It basically has the
I
idea
got
of
some
your
repartee
targeting
for
different
you.
creatures and opponents and spells.
So you can think of removal spells that kill your opponent's creatures and trigger your repartee creatures, or you can think of pump spells or combat tricks that boost your own creatures while helping them along the way.
Prismari's all about
Alright, I had
Opus, so
Flicker.
they're trying to cast the biggest, most bombastic spells in this set.
Opus is a trigger on casting an instant or sorcery spell, and you will get something.
Oh, there's
You
one
will
for
get
Omega.
something
He likes
more every
milling.
time you cast an instant or sorcery spell that you spent 5 or more mana on. So it is an upgrade for casting especially powerful instants and sorceries.
Witherbloom is all about gaining life and the idea that once you gain life, you get extra abilities.
Who doesn't love a good life gain theme?
So they have an ability word Infusion, which cares about if you've gained life this turn, and their playstyle really is going to the board with pests and trying to attack, go wide, care about creatures dying, and gain life all the while.
They get better as you gain life.
Warhold aptly is the one school that has a returning mechanic, Flashback, which we just felt was perfect. It was really the impetus for why we wanted to use these mechanics in the first place. We we're trying to do graveyard themes for Lorehold, of caring about cards leaving your graveyard, and Flashback just felt like a perfect tool to do that.
Increment is the Quandrix mechanic, the math school, all about numbers. Quandrix creatures with the increment mechanic will grow in size whenever you cast a spell that you spent more mana on than the creature's power or toughness. And you'll keep growing your creature over time as you cast bigger and bigger spells throughout the game.
You know, math is all about adding numbers and just getting as big as you possibly can.
So we have a new planeswalker here, Delian Fell.
Professor Delian Fell, a Witherbloom professor.
He's kind of got that dark, broody energy, a mysterious past. Can you trust him? Can you not?
I really like the Delian Fell card because it's kind of a return to planeswalkers from when we first started designing them.
Planeswalkers are the most powerful beings in the multiverse, and so it's not often that you get to meet a brand new one.
I definitely recommend checking out our main set fiction and learning more about this brand new planeswalker.
The slow lands are such great lands for Standard. I'm really happy to have them back.
She called them
Standard
slow.
cares a lot about what the untapped lands are in the format, and for diversity of gameplay, we try and
two or
vary it
more.
up over
Okay.
time. But the slow lands are
So
really
these are
fun
getting a
ones
reprint.
because they enter untapped as the game progresses instead of as the game begins, which gives power to slower strategies and the game continuing. So really happy to get them back here and introduce them to Standard again.
Archaics are some of the main antagonists.
I know she's your
of the
hero,
set.
Dan.
I love the Archaics. I'm the kind of player where the bigger a creature is, the more exciting it is.
They are these huge, colorless creatures you'll find out in Arcavios that threaten the land. And they use the Converge mechanic and care about the colors of mana spent to cast it.
The one wearing the
as many
beret?
different colors as possible. to
Yeah.
make them as
Kind of, this
powerful
one
as
right here
possible.
looks like my ex-wife, and just as irritated. Like, she doesn't want to be there.
Yes.
Okay, Daniel, they tell me that you designed the commander decks. First of all, how many are there?
We got 5, one for each college of Strixhaven. You know, we wanted to get that representation.
I like
in there,
how
each with the
all-inclusive
returning
this group
students
is.
that
They
you
don't
know
have
from original Strixhaven.
a straight
Yeah, so
guy.
these are
Otherwise
the
they'd be
returning
canceled.
characters. You know, the main set
Yeah,
focuses
exactly.
on the new cast of characters. Well, these are the students you met the first time we were there, but now they're a bit older. They're a little mature in their life.
I noticed we're seeing
They're in the
less and
final
less of
thesis
Blake.
Some are
That's
graduating, becoming planeswalkers, and traveling the multiverse. So these 5 decks, I really wanted to approach as if they're a full packaged story of that college. Yeah, when you pick it up, it's really themed. Like, you feel like you're on Strixhaven. You know, things coming back. We have the old Commander deck, some cards from that, the old set of Strixhaven itself, and then obviously some main set cards even popped in the decks. Yeah, we got a few in there.
We also incorporated the school mascots into each of the decks, so the other commander that you'll find in there is themed one for each of the school. They're new designs for the mascots, and it was really fun to create characters around these sometimes very weird and very wonderful creatures.
And some of them are pretty animal-like. I hear there might even be an otter in one of them. So with Lorehold, for example,
utterly
it's really nice
ridiculous.
to theme that deck to what Lorehold is actually doing in the story and their whole college about digging up history. So in Commander, it's about pitching to the graveyard. You're trying to get those big creatures into the graveyard, even small creatures for the white-based effects. And then you reanimate them. You get them out of the graveyard, and then Quintorius is going to bring along Spirit Friends as well. I was really inspired by him because his original uncommon card was a really cool effect when something leaves the graveyard and make a 3/2 spirit. It was just kind of rated at a way that wasn't super desirable in Commander. So in the Planeswalker form, I gave him that same ability along with some other ways to fill up your graveyard. But the whole deck, it has a spirit theme as a sub-theme because you're going to make all these 3/2 spirits and then buff them up and just as an anthem, swarm your enemies. Silver Quill Influence. This deck is led by Killian, who people, when they built the uncommon version, I noticed online, were building an Auras deck because the original Killian would reduce the cost of spells that target creatures. So I thought, you know, we could do that here, like an Aura of Influence. You know, that's the creed of Silver Quill. They're a little pushy, they're like politicians, they have a lot of influence. So with his card, he is goading your opponent's creatures with those auras to attack each other. You know, don't come over here, attack them. And that's how he kind of wins the game. He sneaks in and gains benefit from them beating up each other. Prismari Artistry is a deck built around casting big spells with Rutha as its face. The bigger the spell, the bigger the elemental that comes in. Unlike normal blue-red decks, typically you're trying to build a
That
draw
also looks like
engine,
someone
a little
used to
ping them
date,
down over time.
Dan.
I really want to emphasize the big matters here. If you cast a Blasphemous Act for
I think she looked
9
exactly the
mana,
same,
you're going to
too,
get a
with the
9/9
teeth and the ears.
elemental that rushes in and beats the crap out of your opponents. With Witherbloom Pestilence, we had to lean back into the old theme of life gain at least a little to make some of the reprints work within the deck, but thankfully the whole deck is about sacrificing, and the best thing to sacrifice in Witherbloom are the pest tokens, which gain you life, therefore triggering Dina and all the other effects in the deck. So the idea of this deck is to build your army of little pest creatures that you don't super care about, they usually chump block, do whatever, but then you sacrifice them to power up your spells and defeat your opponents. Quandrix Unlimited is led by Simone, who is all about big numbers. Her original card was mostly ramp and card draw. Here we wanted to make X spells matter. So the bigger the number of X, the bigger the reward, and she'll help you ramp out those effects by reducing the cost. And, X really is the limit in the math school. The bigger the spell, the faster your enemies fall. So there's a cycle of visiting professors here, all monocolor, and they're all casting a very well-known spell, infamous if you will, as their prepared spell. And my favorite of this cycle is Iganjo Dynastorian visiting from my favorite plane, Kamigawa. These professors are coming and teaching these spells. Replenish on this spell is a very famous commander card, and it's gonna work in that deck because it's gonna bring all your auras back. There's one more in each deck, pretty cheeky things in there. One of them even lets you cast a spell that is not playable currently in Commander. When a player sits down with one of these decks, I really hope that they just have a good time with that college. Like they get to see what that college is doing. They get to tell a story. The best part about any Commander game is that each player gets to do their thing. And I think there's a lot of fun to be had with these decks.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome when people really resonate and feel like they've found a friend in our characters and, want to build a Commander deck around them and are excited to see them again. So always want to reciprocate on that.
Sarah, I love magic art more than most things in the world.
Same.
Yeah, and I bet I could talk to you forever, but I'm just wondering what you'd like to show me from the set.
There are so many cool things in the set.
No, you can't talk to her forever. She's not a dude.
These portal lands.
The borderless portal view lands are a really fun opportunity for us to again showcase that magic that is unique to each of the schools and see beyond into places that may not even exist on Arcavios.
And it's a really interesting dimensionality to show these two locations in one place. And we worked really hard to place the portals in the same place on each land with the same dimensions so that they felt really coherent across the set of 5 of them.
I really encourage fans to take a look through, see what you see on the other side, and maybe in a future set you'll see the completed cycle.
So we have some really beautiful, shiny, basic lands. These highlight students casting their magic in really distinctive styles.
Oh, Dan, I know you're highly disappointed. They're not pizza.
I'm a real sucker for the mana symbols. I think the kind of dark silhouette in front looks so cool.
And we were really deliberate about the silhouette style so you could tell which school the students are from. And they're casting magic and it's taking the shape of the mana symbols.
It was a great opportunity for us to showcase the school's theme and their magic alongside this epic symbol that the students themselves were conjuring.
With extended art frames, it's a really interesting opportunity. Even just extending the border of the art off the edge of the card makes a kind of a big difference. It's like widescreen.
There's always this fun opportunity to see what little Easter eggs artists might stick into the edges of the art. They always know that a portion of it
They're
won't
talking
be
about
necessarily
extended
seen in the
art
standard
like it's
art,
amazing.
And lots of artists like to
bruh,
take that as an
we already know about
opportunity
this.
to get like a little secret into the extended. So maybe take a look at those a little closely next time.
So we also have some really cool field notes cards.
Okay.
It's kind of a sneaky way for us to get more than one individual piece of art on one card, right? Okay. So there's little vignettes.
It's been a treatment that we've done a handful of times now, and it just kind of makes sense. Field notes, they're on a field trip.
I really wanted to get that little idea of it being a student's notebook. Maybe little sketches, little pieces of ink splatter, depending on the school, little pieces of calligraphy.
So it's a really interesting, it's not just one picture and there's color and then there's no color. They usually look very hand-drawn, so there's you get a feeling of the hand of the artist behind it, which is really fun.
The idea is that these are little snapshots of the students actually going out, exploring the real world, capturing their learnings on paper.
This one especially, because I've seen artist sketchbooks and this is how you learn anatomy. You have to paint someone in 15 different poses, yeah, super cool.
We also have right in front of us some really beautiful borderless dragons.
Beautiful.
Look at these guys.
I really loved that we kind of got that old school sort of portraiture style with these and showed the dragons in just a very different light, very much being their most academic selves.
I was gonna say, these are very studious, yeah.
The Elder Dragons are, scholars. They are the ones that founded their colleges, respectively, and so they're kind of a fun, rare, playful chance to see these dragons in slightly less draconic poses.
We normally see them in their main set art and in other places just being cool, epic dragons, which is super fun. But the idea of putting them into these very refined academic settings and getting to showcase them with their quills or their instruments and their brushes was really just a fun reference to both the style of art you might expect to see in an academic setting with a little bit of playfulness to it.
The Borderless Planeswalker cards, they have this very like heavy kind of symbolic feel to them. And behind each professor is kind of their abstracted magic in a really kind of interesting way.
We wanted to evoke a similar feeling on our
I love that.
Borderless
It's two
Planeswalkers, both for
Planeswalkers
Ral
that
and
are in my
Fornelli and
colors.
Fel. This allowed us to create a little bit more of like an illuminated manuscript version of those
Your
two
illuminated
characters to get a
manuscript,
sense
Dan.
almost like you're reading about them in a textbook or an ancient scroll, perhaps sometime in the future.
You're an ancient scroll.
The Mystical Archive
No,
is back,
I'm ancient.
still delivering on a lot of the same excitement, new cast of spells that people will get to discover, but that treatment was so incredible that we knew we needed to go back and do it again.
It was really an opportunity for us to bring back something that was one of my favorite parts about the original set. The art style is phenomenal, and it's such a beautiful illuminated manuscript that really evokes this sense of grandeur and history and past. Also that strange magical esoteric aspect to it.
And the story ties so well to the set because the idea behind the Mystical
Squirrel.
Archives cards is that you're seeing an illustration of the very first time this spell was cast. You know, you can picture yourself as a student in the Biblioplex doing your research and your due diligence and studying your spellcraft and looking up, you know, the first time Force of Will was cast. Force of Will is a really beautiful card on the Mystical Archives bonus sheet. The artist is Rowena Kai.
All right,
She has
there's
a
your
really
big-
distinctive style. She tends to use that powdery kind of like slate neutral blue in a lot of her work, which fit really perfectly
It's
with
been a
that
while
card
since they've done
composition.
Force of
And I
Will.
think that big black circle in the middle gives like a really beautiful stage to her illustration. If you see her work up close, the face of the figure is really beautifully detailed and has a lot of emotion.
For the rares and the mythics, we knew that we wanted to really reach and find some of the most iconic, some of the most powerful, dynamic, awesome spells from across Magic.
Oh, nice.
We wanted to balance with the Mystical Archive
kinda
having
cool.
references both to
So
the
Force of
plane
Will,
itself and also to other
Vampiric Tutor,
places.
let's
So
go.
Vampiric Tutor, for example, we're showcasing a Silver
Sup,
Quill
Caustic?
student. So
I
perhaps
see
this
you
is
read
a
your-
spell that
you
maybe
text never
originated
got
on
back to me.
Arcavios.
And so we really wanted to make sure we chose spells that were even more iconic from Magic's history and illustrate them in our beautiful illuminated manuscript art style. I wanted the feeling to be as you're opening up a book and you're flipping through the tomes of Magic history that you see these iconic spells like Force of Will and Vampiric Tutor, and they're kind of jumping off the page and coming to life for you.
These Mystical Archive cards are so cool.
Yeah.
Look at the smallpox.
I know. It's so awesome.
Yeah, because you have this like figure that's like completely dimensional and you can see his claws and see his hands, and then over top of it you have these like circles which aren't kind of anything real necessarily, but like lend this kind of symbology to it, which makes it feel like it has even more meaning.
Sure.
So we have the whole Mystical Archives bonus sheet, and then we have a Japanese version, which is like goes even deeper.
Sure. Wow.
That one in particular is another version of Smallpox, and we really get to play with artists in their unique style. So this is an artist that draws everything as cats.
We can go bird or
and so
cat.
it's really, really
Yeah.
fun to just kind of send them a concept and know that I'm gonna get back some sort of cat.
Yeah, she got a very similar art description from this card, but she draws cats. That's
Totally
what you get.
different. And are all the artists that work on the Japanese Mystical Archive Japanese?
Yeah, we have an art director actually in Tokyo who works with us all the time, Yuki Koizumi.
Oh, that
He's
one,
a total rock star. And we
blue
also
card
work with a
looks kinda
Japanese
cool.
agency called Kogodo. They help us out a lot.
I don't know what it is,
Real
but
experts,
it's the one
yeah.
in blue.
Are you a cat person, Daniel?
I'm more of a dog person, but this art is pretty sweet.
I'm a smallpox person.
Yeah, these are righteous. So it's immediately evocative. Like these are obviously part of the Japanese tradition, especially some of these.
We also have a third style there. So
Okay.
it's the Japanese Mystical Archive, but with a special foil treatment over the top.
So this is actually our silver scroll foil. It's actually a brand new Eclipse treatment, different than the previous foil etch treatment that you saw in original Strixhaven.
Oh, it
It's
pops
a little
a lot
bit
more, yeah.
reminiscent of the gilded frames that we saw in Streets of New Capenna, but these are
Yeah, they
especially
definitely
gorgeous.
pop better.
There are
Nice.
10 Borderless special guest cards in the set. This is kind of a meta idea that we had. So
Okay.
each of these special guest cards, you'll have a professor teaching their students, and they are casting a lesson in magic. And the idea was that the magic that they're casting is visually represented in the style of the Mystical Archives.
So for example, with Sylvan Library, we see a Witherbloom professor teaching these students in the midst of a much more
They definitely had an interesting way of advertising it.
Hey, there's our guy. He's muted. Bro, there's our boy. Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely had an interesting way of advertising it. They wanted me to put my own world into this, and I just like don't like that concept of making it my own world and my own world. I want to vacate my world and have like some sort of not. And it kind of seemed like they were putting a lot of, I don't want to get into it, but it seemed like they were putting a lot of little agenda into it, and I kind of didn't
always,
like that.
Dan, always. It's always been like that.
At least I don't want to see me in it. I don't want to see the people I know in it. I want to slip into an imaginary world and, when they kept on repeating, well, you kind of see yourself in this character. You kind of see the people you know in this character. I don't like the people I know. I don't like the people I know. Why do I want to see my neighbors or the people I socialize with? I kind of vacate my world when I play a game or something.
So, Caustic, collector-wise, you have
Hello and welcome to the weekly
Oh,
MTG
never mind.
after show for Secrets
It's our
of
guy.
Strixhaven.
Ego nonsense aside, I like some of the art, though.
Many more secrets
you know?
that we're going to stick around here for another 45 minutes to an hour. We're going to dive deeper into mechanics, into different treatments, into just some cool cards.
Oh, I
We're
forgot
gonna
to put their chat
talk
up.
about cards you've seen. We are going to reveal new preview cards throughout this next hour. And to do all of that, we have two of the brilliant minds behind Secrets of Strixhaven, who you may recognize from the video you just watched. So we've got Athena and Reggie here. Welcome.
Oh, they didn't get your favorite
And
beret
how was
chick,
watching
dude.
yourselves on
I'm
screen
sorry,
just a
Dan.
minute ago?
A little traumatizing, but really wonderful. It's exciting to see
How is it
everything
traumatizing?
put together about the set in such a beautiful package.
You're doing your job of making cards.
Real quick, what were each of your roles on the set?
Yeah, so I'm Athena Froelich. I worked as executive producer on the set, kind of leading the set from initial development to final delivery.
And I was one of the set design leads on the game design.
Cool. All right. So these are the people to tell us all about all of the things. We are going to start by diving into the mechanics, and I think a lot of people have really gravitated to a new mechanic that is kind of wild and cool and does some amazing things. Prepared. And what better way to look at Prepared than to look at it through the lens of some of our students. So let's put up our first preview card, which is Abigail, Poet Laureate. And
Bird
let's, Reggie, tell us a little bit about what is Prepared. How does it work in this set?
Yeah, so Prepared is an ability that goes on creatures. They have unique templating, like you'll see, where they've got a spell in their text box. They kind of resemble adventures or omens, things that we've seen before, although you'll notice that
Yes, I said it
the
first.
box is on the other side of the
And
card. And
Bird
we're doing
Bart.
that to denote that you can't cast these from your hand as their spells. They're
You're
just creatures that you
gravitated.
cast, but then once they become prepared somehow, like this has a quest to prepare Abigail. Some creatures
Oh yeah,
I've seen
Daedalus.
enter
I'm
prepared.
stoked about.
And
I
then
mean,
once they are
the only one in my
prepared,
color
you
palette
can
is
cast
Witherbloom.
that spell, and
So,
it works like casting a
but I'm
spell.
stoked on the getting
Triggers
a
casting
black
instants and sorceries, matter
professor,
things,
a
and just
gruel,
works.
Yeah. Now, is there,
I guess
so we see an
Witherbloom,
uncommon here. Is there kind of a difference in how
and then we
thought about
have the
creatures becoming prepared
Boros.
for commons,
I
uncommons,
think that's just in the
rares?
deck, though.
I mean, a little bit just in terms of
And then
complexity
Commander.
and what we were trying to do. So, for these students that we're going to be taking a look at, we really wanted to make sure that they played really well in their respective colleges, in their limited archetypes especially. And we're going to see a little bit more about that, but Silverquill really enjoys targeting creatures with spells. And so Abigail is very good at doing that and wants to be played with some extra creatures too. But we definitely were exploring a range, We really had a lot of fun with returning spells, existing magic spells.
So
on
each one
cards,
is,
and
for
we were
prepared
actually
is
pretty
different.
excited to
So
get
that's
to put
interesting.
those on a range of rarities too. So
Yeah.
commons, uncommons, and high rarity stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember being really delighted during some of our early play testing when we were looking at some of the prepared spells, and I'd be like, hey, I remember that spell. And now my creature gets to cast it as well as I do.
Yeah. There's going to be some deep cuts on these spells too. Like some of them, Ancestral Recall, not a deep cut, but some of these, I love going along and being like, oh yeah, that was like a common trick back in the day that we all remember. All right, speaking of remembering things from the past, that's my fantastic transition into Qore history buff. So we have another Prepare Vampire Cleric here who's packing a bit of a punch. Reggie, what do you work with here?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Qore
guess that they have the
is
daytime
doing a little
ability
bit of
too,
everything,
Dan,
but
for
really they are
vampires.
speaking to the Lorehold theme, which is whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard. And so you are trying to dig up the past with their archaeomancy. And a really easy way to get things to leave your graveyard is with the flashback mechanic, like we had seen. But there are a lot of bespoke ways and tricks to do it. And so Qore is a really nice payoff, caring about things leaving your graveyard, and they're able to mill a card to get a little more extra juice.
Okay.
It's
Get
Carol.
something in there that could later pop out.
Exactly.
All right.
Not Carl.
Do you have a favorite of the students?
I don't know. Perhaps your next one.
Okay. Lewin, exchange student, is our next student with Prepare. An elf druid that can cast Pest Friend, which is a great name for a spell. Reggie, walk us through this one.
This is a kind of cool one. So Lewin enters prepared, so you can just cast Pest Friend right away, which is pretty nice. And then it actually has an activated ability to prepare itself, which I think is one of the few cards that works like this. So it kind of works a little bit like a Night Soil sort of a card where you get to pay a mana to exile something from your graveyard to make that creature token.
I don't know. Are we filling this yet? There's some cards I want.
It's a little cheaty because it looks like there's no mana gate. Oh, it's crazy, but you're actually, to get the most value out of it, you need to keep casting Pest Friend.
Yeah, but vampires out in the
also
light.
a good chance
You
to
know,
show
the
off
art's
that
the art's
tokens
pretty
have
good.
changed a
You
little
know,
bit. So pests are obviously returning.
you know,
and we really love
some of the art's pretty
in
good.
The
I'm
original
digging on
Strixhaven
that.
School of Mages, they died to gain the one life.
Yeah.
Here, they're a little more aggressive. They want to attack to gain the life. They're still often
still
going to
might
die,
yeah.
but, who could block that?
I don't know.
It's
Exiling
okay.
something
Come
to
on.
pay one again for a
But,
1/1.
Yeah, they play a little
It's a lot of
differently
work.
and more of kind of a token swarm aggro to play into the infusion themes.
Okay.
Early on in our concept push, we had our artists kind of sit down and come up with a lot of different concepts for what pests might look like, what are new and improved versions of pest, and this pest pug was one of them. And so I'm really happy that we were able to preserve this on this token, and perhaps this is why this is my favorite.
It's a pretty adorable pest bug. I do. So I kind of asked about it in the last one too, Reggie. But this one enters prepared. It has that activated ability. When you were figuring out how these prepared creatures become prepared, was there a place you started, or was it just tweaking and seeing what felt right for the card?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you'll see the most, especially at low rarities, are things that enter prepared and then, have medium to expensive spells that they're casting. And then they play a little more like mechanics that we've seen, kind of like a monstrosity or an exhaust ability.
Okay.
But we really enjoyed, and I think playtesters really resonated with ones that can re-prepare themselves and cast that spell multiple times over and have more of a dream. And so we were always looking for conditions that could make that make sense wherever we could.
All right. Well, let's see our next student here. Sonar, Unfinished Genius, who's able to cast a Wild Idea, create treasure tokens. A lot of things going on here, Reggie.
This one's maybe my favorite of the cycle. I like Sonar. Kind of doing a little bit of just everything you want in your Opus deck.
How do you
which is what
re-prepare
Prismara is
it?
about. So Opus cares about casting instants and sorceries with mana value 5 or greater, or spend 5 or more mana on them. And Sonar comes prepared and has a 5 mana instant and sorcery right there, and it's often going to be able to let you find another 5 mana instant and sorcery, so you can really just keep the Opus flowing. And it's kind of functioning a little bit like a mana dork for spells, which we see abundant.
It doesn't
but
say how to
a little more open-ended
re-prepare it,
and
though.
powerful than that, getting to create treasures and banking them for later. I think it's pretty fun.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's really exciting about Prepare is whenever we're embarking on a new mechanic, there's this tension between, do you want to keep things simple and really easy for new players to grok and understand, or do you want to introduce a little bit more complexity, which also allows for a little bit more flexibility? And I think here we erred on the side of allowing that flexibility, and it really allows each of these, they're just uncommons, but they really tell a story about what each of the colleges is about, what they're trying to do, and what their specific mechanic is.
All right, which leads us to our final student and seeing what this college is all about. We've got Tam, Observant Sequencer. this one's my favorite because it says draw a card. But yeah, so landfall becoming prepared is pretty cool, Reggie.
Yeah, you know, just again, thinking about conditions that would make sense to allow things to re-prepare themselves and be a little more open-ended in their execution. A little like Lewin, where, you know, it reads crazy, but unlike a lot of landfall abilities, this one kind of moderates itself because you need to spend that mana and kind of weave it in. But if you can figure out the sequencing, which is kind of what Increment and Quandrix is all about, it can be really powerful.
Chat even said first fair landfall cards. There you go. Good work.
Interesting.
All right. Now our final card is our final card. God no, we've got a ways to go. Our final card in the prepared section gets a bit more at what I was talking about with making things prepared in other ways, Reggie.
Oh, there you go.
Like I was saying, we have a lot of these creatures at low rarity that just enter prepared once. And so, you know, they enter prepared, you cast their spell, and then they're just a creature. But we wanted to kind of play around with it, and there are a couple of different ways that you can re-prepare things deliberately, in this case from the land row, and we think it's pretty sweet. You can also, you know, try to cheat it out. Some creatures have really expensive, questy ways to prepare themselves.
Yeah. And here's an example. So you got to pay 3 to pay
this art is
a
absolutely
2
gorgeous. I know
spell.
one of the things that we talked about in our debut video was about how we wanted to expand
Well,
the
no,
lens
pay
outside of
3,
just the
and then
campus itself.
another,
And so here you
whatever
can
the
see
spell
one of the
costs.
outland villages that exists outside the campus. You can see our little sky coach in the distance where we talked about how do these students get from the field location to field location, and it kind of really builds the story of what's happening on Arcabios just outside of Strixhaven.
Yeah. I also love the flavor text on this. It's making a creature become prepared. And do you have all your books, your stylus, your extra uniform? So Reggie, how many effects like this
you'll
are
get
we going to see in
banned?
the set
Why?
where something external?
Why?
makes a creature
Caustic doesn't make
prepared?
sense.
I think there might only be 2.
Okay.
So just a light sampling, mostly for draft.
Just a few. All right, makes sense. All right, let's move on to our next section of previews. We're going to continue talking about mechanics here, and we're going to start with flashback. This is a pretty simple flashback spell, Reggie, but I also think probably one that's fairly strong.
Yeah, flashback is honestly just a perfect mechanic.
Yeah, I mean, I
There's
don't know
a
if it'll
reason
get
we go to
banned,
that
but I could
well
see that.
time and time again as, you know, a deciduous sampling, or in this case as a more robust mechanic in the set proper. We really enjoy how it plays and ties in with both instants and sorceries matter broadly. It is 2 instants and sorceries to cast when you care about that. Things can leave your graveyard for lore hold synergies when you care about that. We got to play around, not on this one in particular, but having expensive flashback costs is a cool way to be able to enable Opus, which we really enjoyed. And so
Be
it can
right
just
back.
do it all. In this case, I like the play of, you know, casting both halves in the same turn is pretty powerful. Sometimes you can double up to try to deal 2 damage to the same creature. Sometimes you want to make 2 different things unable to block. Or maybe you'd want to keep it up and leave the threat there. Make them scared to play a 1 toughness creature, or, you know, worry that you're going to get in a good attack when they can't block.
Yeah. Athene, you've been playing for a while with flashback. What's your experience with flashback in this set?
It's really fun. It's really powerful. It feels like something that feels both fresh and relevant, but also really true and unique to what Lorehold is trying to do. So I think it's a really good marriage here between an existing mechanic that now gets new life in a new set.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look.
Guys,
at
step away for a
new
minute, and they're still on
mechanic that
duel
has
tactics?
Some,
Jeez.
roots in older mechanics, but increment.
Hey, another frog.
Berto, wise extrapolator. All right, Reggie, walk us through what's going on with increment.
So, increment looks a little similar to evolve, which we've seen before as
Hello? Dan?
I must have been muted, sorry.
Oh, no. Oh, they're muted. Okay, I thought it was me. I'm like...
No, I must have been muted.
Oh. All right, I got to take this. Sit tight.
Either they're muted or Twitch doesn't like the background music.
is too powerful.
Hi, I think we're back. Hopefully, chat. Well, there we go. Great.
There you go.
Let's keep talking about this frog druid, Reggie. Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Why don't you start from the beginning? Let's tell us about increment.
So increment cares about how much mana you spend on spells, and so you want to try to sequence things and maximize the amount of counters.
DJ, Caustic is asking for some context.
Cares about if the amount of mana you spent is greater than the creature's power or toughness. So for Berta, 1 power means that's usually the number you're going to be looking at.
Yep.
And so you want to try to sequence things really mathily.
I think he's still muted.
I really want to cast a 2-mana spell, and then I really want to spend 3 mana on a spell, and 4 mana on a spell, and so on and so forth. And all the while, Berta is kind of helping me do that sequencing by adding a little mana, giving me a mana sink, and shows the fractals that are returning. We really care a lot about X and +1/+1 counters here.
Athena, Chad is particularly into the frogs these days.
Oh, yeah. Who isn't?
Who isn't? We've seen a lot of frogs, especially since Bloomborough. How much of that connective tissue are you all purposely seeding throughout the sets?
I would say more than you think. Typically, it's either someone on the design team's a really big fan, or just thinking in general about the people. People want frogs, so they must give them
People
frogs.
clearly want frogs, yeah.
And so we try to have that connective tissue through, so if someone is a frog fan, that they're continually getting their supplement of frogs, and perhaps even that you can make like a frog standard deck to really make that sing. And I know in general, for this set, like I'm looking at this fractal, this cute little snail dude, we were always trying to push it and say, how can we make things even more charming? How can we make things even more fun? What fun creature types can we do? What fun iconography can we do with these fractal and different mascot images to really make sure that every single card tells its own story and has its own message and has its own home and person who's really going to love it.
Yeah. All right, next up, we've talked around Opus a little bit, but let's actually talk about Opus and this adorable goblin bard here. Reggie, what is Opus and what are we looking at here?
So Prismari cares about casting instants and sorceries in general. So does Molten Core Maestro here. Whenever you cast an instant and sorcery, you just get a +1/+1 counter, full stop. Doesn't matter what happened.
Okay.
But if you spend 5 or more mana on that spell through whatever means, kickers, flashback, casting a 5-mana spell, then you get an extra goodie on top. And all of these Opus cards are structured this way, where they do one base case and then they do something awesome when you get the full effect. In this case,
is the base case always a +1/+1 counter, or is it just
no,
something
it's
small?
bespoke. Yeah, exactly. It's just a reward, kind of like a Magecraft reward.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, Athena, your thoughts on the Goblin Bard here?
I'm a little horrified to think about what exactly is happening in this artwork combined with the flavor text.
There's so many colors.
So many colors, so much danger, so much fun.
All right, next up is Infusion, the Witherbloom mechanic. And this just cares about if you gained life, but it is, this spell in particular is fairly powerful. Let's see, Withering Curse. There it is.
People have already seen a little bit of the Lumerets, these cute frog spirits that have appeared on a variety of cards and are just real cuties. They're powerful magic users, as we've seen. Once they gain life, once they grow in multiples, like the flavor text says, gather to eliminate larger threats, and they're doing that here. You can get yourself, a 3-mana damnation if you work for it.
Yeah, I know one thing that I wasn't really aware of until I started working on Magic sets is how much time and effort it goes into making sure when you see a card, you immediately know what plane it's from, what set is it associated with. And so you're always looking for different signals. For example, with Strixhaven, you'll see a lot of the Sky Arches, where you can kind of look in once you see that motif. And so Lumerets were one of the things that we wanted to bring forward to make it feel like we're building out Arcavios. You're learning more about the story. You're learning about the fauna that's kind of growing there. And these little dudes are just so charming that once you see one, you're like, I love Lumerets. I want a bunch more Lumerets. What can I do with them?
Yeah. Well, and chat beat me to it, but I'm already like in my head. Okay, so Cornucopia. I forget what the green Cornucopia.
Oh yeah.
When you cast a spell, you gain life equal to number of colors. You just need one here. Just need one.
Radiant Fountain.
Radiant Fountain.
There are some ways.
There's a lot of ways. This is going to be a pretty big player. All right. Next, let's move on to the best named mechanic in the set, Repartee. We saw this one in the debut, but Reggie, walk us through what Repartee is.
So Repartee cares about whenever you cast instants and sorceries that target a creature. So that can be your creature, that can be their creatures, and it's really kind of open-ended. So a little bit of heroic meets crimes, valiant, a little bit of everything in there. And so, yeah, you really want to be playing kind of a lean, aggressive, creature-based strategy, and then kind of your choice. Are you backing it up with pump spells, removal spells, a mix of both? It's very white-black in how it's doing it, but still caring about those instants and sorceries at the root of it.
Yeah, I really just love looking at this art. You can kind of see all the work and time and effort that went into making sure that each of the different magical styles for each of the different colleges has its own visual motif. So here you can see kind of that spell calligraphy where it looks like the spell itself are words being cast.
Yeah.
And especially even when we talk about like different wands and stylists or different ways that people are casting magic here, it looks like an ink nib where you kind of have that calligraphy and the letter at the end.
Now this to me, so that casting costs white, white, black, black. That looks to me like this. Is this a cycle?
This is not a cycle.
This is not a cycle. This is just a cool card that looks like this.
Mana symbols look pretty sweet.
They do look pretty sweet, yeah. All right, now people are going to ask for it to be a cycle over the next time we go to Strixhaven. All right, last named mechanic here. We're going to look at Paradigm, and we have Improvisation Capstone. We saw this one in the debut, but Paradigm is a pretty cool mechanic.
Pretty epic?
Pretty epic mechanic. Maybe even better than epic.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is something that we always enjoy doing a little bit of, is thinking about ways to recontextualize or fix old magic mechanics that, you know, had their core in a really awesome idea, but missed a little on the execution. And so in this case, we were thinking about ways to make awesome over-the-top instants and sorceries in our instant and sorcery set. And we had thought about epic and ways to, you know, harken back to that, find an instant and sorcery that had residual impact on the game, turn over turn. And we tinkered around with some executions and landed on Paradigm, and we're pretty excited.
Okay. How much Paradigm is in the set?
There are 5 cards with Paradigm. Each of them represent, you know, kind of a year-end project from each of the schools in the 5 monocolors.
And also, plenty of people have noticed that this is a lesson. How many lessons are in the set?
There are only 5 lessons in the set. These are the lessons, so they're pretty important ones to learn, you know, on your way to graduation, competing with Mascot Exhibition as your top end, but they're pretty fun and splashy.
Yeah, there will be a pop quiz at the end, so.
There will be, yeah, we're keeping track of all
Pop quiz was also in the first one. But that did learn, perfect.
All right, we're going to move on to Booster Fun. So these are going to be various treatments, special slots, really just cool cards. And these, Athena, are the special guests. Can you talk us through what's going on with the special guests here?
Yeah, this was a fun challenge. So typically when we have special guests, we're like, oh, what are fun spells from throughout Magic's history that we want to now bring to this set and kind of put them in their own unique style? Except we have an entire mystical archive, which is kind of that same conceit. And so here we're like, well, what could be, do we even want to keep special guests? Do we want to replace the program? And we're like, well, no, let's keep it. People expect it. So we decided to do this mixture of both cards that were themed by professors teaching a guest lesson. So things you can see here, Necromancer or Murmuring Mystic. But then also we had a little subtext of like, oh, what are fun library or book themes? So we got Cody coming back from original Strixhaven, as well as Library of Lang and Make Us a Library, as well as our one that we previewed in our debut, Sylvan Library, my personal favorite.
Well, and I love a whole new generation's going to learn all about Cody and Library of Lang. Yeah, we saw a lot of thoughts on Library of Lang with the with Lorehold, the dragon. You could hypothetically do that in Limited.
That's true.
That is hypothetically a thing you could do. The first one to do it, please tag me. I would love to know. All right, where, Athena, can you get special guests?
So you can get these, I believe, in non-foil in play boosters and foil in collector boosters.
Cool. All right, now let's move on to the headliner of the set. We saw this in the debut, but we just need to sit here and gush a little bit over Mark Poole coming back to do this art.
Yeah, this is absolutely wonderful. I actually have a print by Mark Poole of the original Ancestor Recall in my living room. So every day I look at it, and being able to kind of bring that to life on a modern card, especially since Mark's style has evolved over the years, so you can really see the growth when you hold them next to each other of what Magic kind of looked like 30 years ago compared to Magic now. And something really fun about this is we call this, I believe it's our retro borderless frame, but we actually had to make a brand new frame for this because none of our previous retro frames work. So it's retro stylings, where we could put that beautiful serialization on it.
Yeah, for those of us who are older, it kind of reminds me of the like Players Reward Tidings.
Cryptic Command.
The Cryptic Command, yeah, it has that vibe going for it, which is amazing.
It's always fun when you're going throughout Magic's history. I know one of the things we pulled up is some of the old full art tokens that were original.
Yep.
Also use a similar frame.
All right, so there are a bunch of different versions of Emeritus of Ideation, so let's pull those all up. Next slide, there we go. Okay, so Athena, where can you find each of these different versions?
So your main set, you'll be able to find in Play Boosters, and then your extended frame and headliner will be Collector Booster exclusives.
Very cool. And Reggie, is this part of a cycle?
This is part of a cycle. So there are 5 emerituses, sure. Across the 5 colors, like the paradigms that are each representing a school, and they are all preparing powerful alpha.
Hey,
spells.
Dan.
Alpha spell, so it's
Yeah.
not all like.
I'm delayed or they're delayed?
On one of these, right?
I don't know. You've been muted for like forever.
Yeah, I know. I told you I had an appointment call.
Oh.
Yeah.
That wasn't gonna do it. You don't think? No.
I don't think so. I mean,
Oh, I don't
the
know if
door's
they're
open.
delayed.
We could do it again now.
Maybe someday.
Or if they're delayed. I'm.
All right, let's take a look at another.
They
treatment
lost
debuts.
their
These
internet
are
or something because they had to come back a couple of
cards,
times.
so this
Oh,
is-
wow.
I don't know. I'm not. I was digging on some of the art. Like you get like a piece like this, and you're like, oh, that's some good art. Then they're like showing off half the other art, and I'm like, oh, it's mid at best. And like, I'm like,
but brought to life on a
I'm not
creature
digging
spell.
it anymore. Not digging on their art.
A planeswalker
Yeah.
spell. I think these are
I
just
feel like
fun
their
to
artists
look at.
weren't
I've
feeling
seen
this
some real
set.
versions in person where it just kind of
It's
glimpses
what?
off the card.
They weren't
It's always
feeling
fun
like
to be able
this
to
set,
do,
you know. And they're like, yeah, we'll
introduce a
just
new
put out
planeswalker,
whatever
you kinda get
schlock
to
we
know
can
a
put
little
out.
bit more about them,
Oh,
the story
wow.
that they're telling,
Like,
and then
I'm not a big fan of like a lot
cards
of the art that they've been showing us.
iconic in the future.
Well, and I want to.
And one of the things I do like about Magic is like the cards have some incredible art, like a good majority of the time.
Planeswalkers
Yeah.
on this show yet, but both of the planeswalkers in this set have 4 abilities, which is a little unique. How did you all land on that?
We've been experimenting with planeswalkers a bunch in Standard over the past couple of years. After we desparked a lot of planeswalkers in March of the Machine, we were intentionally pulling back a little bit and doing less planeswalkers in our sets. Usually it was like about
This one, if you
planeswalker
count the
per.
commander, is 3.
And a lot of them were pretty novel designs. We were experimenting and enjoying a lot of the design space of static abilities on planeswalkers and making them a little more abstract build-arounds. And we think that there's still a time and a place for those, but we were also excited to get back and introduce a few more planeswalkers into the environment because we felt like we were missing a little.
I like
bit
that. Someone said canon, said
and
novel
we
equals
were
meh.
excited to have a starting point of, actually these planeswalkers don't have statics. These are just really powerful, straightforward planeswalkers that, you know, the power is in their
Kinda
modality
basic.
and their effects.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. I like
it
this
just ended
one,
up
the
workshopping
professor.
that they ended up with 4 abilities, and I think they play fairly differently, but they're pretty sweet. This one's pretty good with Healing Salve. So
This one actually casts a version.
Oh
of
my
Healing
God,
Salve.
Lego
It's
Crocs,
probably
dude.
better with that 3-mana wrath. Maybe.
Why is the
And
advertising
then
the best
we
thing about
also
this?
have borderless.
I am more
versions
excited
of
about those.
Dragon. So let's see.
Dude, I would absolutely rock Lego Crocs, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You know,
First,
walk
first let's
around
talk
It'd
with
be
about
like
something
those
the
built
Mexican
up on your
shoes where you
foot.
know where
and
it,
then we'll talk about the dragons.
Yeah,
you know where
so
it does
we've
that,
done-
the
when
loop
we
or
were working
whatever?
on
You
the
just
set,
have
we're
like a
also
creation
working
on your show, on your shoe.
Storm. And you know, just
Walk
treatments were on our
around
mind.
your
We're always
Lego
thinking about, like,
village.
what are cool treatments that we can do with dragons? And we have a whole set of cool treatments of dragons. And so here we wanted to kind of lean into the whimsy. Often when you see elder dragons, they're seen as like really regal and badass poses where they're flying or swooping. And here instead we wanted to say, hey, what if we showed them kind of in their natural environments as teachers, as founders of these different colleges? So here you see.
So what was it? The Hobbit, or what was the
You
movies?
still get that beautiful borderless full art.
The pre.
All right, now let's talk.
Yeah, it was a Hobbit,
Reggie,
right?
about the
With
design of the Elder Dragons. So they all have some version of
I
instant
forget, man.
sorcery spells you cast. Have some ability.
Yeah.
How did you land on that as the motif for these 5?
You know, relatedly, Tarkir Dragonstorm, we had been doing a lot of dragons in the environment, you know, in our standard block.
This one's gonna be ridiculous, dude. Prismari with Storm. I mean, you pay 7, so
both from their
but
original
still.
versions, you know, the Elder Dragons from Strixhaven School of Mages, which are pretty awesome, and from just all the other dragons in the environment. And so we were thinking about ways to make them stand out, and we like hooking into the instants and sorceries.
Can't remember what the hell I was trying to say.
These are, you know, scholars. They're elder dragons that founded their colleges, and we ended up, you know, running with this instants and sorcery spells have returning abilities, and we're kind of gritting it out.
Yeah, this is
workshopping
of the
things as we
dragons. I
go,
think this
what
is
made
probably the
sense.
most
A lot of
broken,
them
but
changed
also
a
the
lot
most
of times,
expensive.
but
So.
Storm did stick for quite a while, just because.
So Dan, Storm is
I mean, it's a wild line of
you
text.
basically get to
if you
copy the
want,
spell
in this set, you could
for as
cast
many
an ancestral
spells
recall
as you
with
had
Storm.
cast before it. So if you
Where else
cast
can
like
you-
5 spells, you get to
Nowhere.
copy that one spell 5 times.
There's my one plug.
If that makes sense.
We did see
Watch
questions
that go on the
in
ban
chat
list.
about.
Oh,
I believe
yeah.
It was Lorehold that gave Cascade.
Quandrix gives
gives Cascade. Okay, Quandrix gives that's right. Lorehold gives Miracle. So Quandrix gives Cascade. We recently, semi-recently, introduced Discover as an updated version of Cascade. Why did you go with Cascade instead of Discover?
A little bit of 2 factors. One, coolness. Cascade just has a lot of cachet. It's really awesome and powerful and cool to read. And another was just templating, frankly. The card itself has Cascade on that one, and it's granting those abilities to instants and sorceries, and so we would have had to write some slightly more pained words of instants and sorceries have Discover X, where X is their mana value, and it would have Discover 6 on it, and it would just read a little wonkier, frankly. And so we tested and thought Cascade was workable, and so we ran with it.
Cool.
Yeah, one of the funny things is,
As usual,
typically when we work on a Magic set, there's
Simic
quite
is
a
going to
long
be
span of
busted.
time between when we're pencils down on the set and when the set actually releases, because we have to do the packaging and go to print and everything. And during that time span, I was actually out on maternity leave, and so coming back to this set with fresh new eyes after leave and being able to see everything we've done with it.
Okay, that's more
it's just
interesting
been
than
really
the card
wonderful to see
review.
what
But
a true love
anyways,
letter this has been to Magic. There's so many different homages to Magic's history, whether through the Mystical Archive, whether through our paradigm spells. But also just truly with
look
things
at
like
that.
and the different
Really,
dragons
200
showing
sets a
different
year
layers
and
throughout
you take a
Magic's history.
break?
Kind of live the dream in so many different ways.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to our next treatment, which is a familiar but very fun one. Field notes. So, Athena, what are these and where can you get them?
Yeah, so Field Notes is a returning booster fund treatment. And something really cool here is because the set is all about the students kind of venturing out until their different field locations, it gives you that feeling of the students are actually illustrating in their different notebooks about what they're learning and what they're studying. So one of the things that I love here is you can tell this is a Prismari student who's kind of doodling different movements and different stylings. And throughout the set, you'll be able to see different, depending on what college you're looking at, different little things in the margins. And so these will be found in both play and collector boosters and foil and non-foil.
We've already talked about Paradigm, so we'll keep moving on to another very cool inclusions, which are the Portal dual lands. So these are showing omen paths, and actually, Athena, why don't you talk about them?
Yeah, so these are a view into a different dimension, and I'm really excited to see what fans are kind of thinking on the other side here. Just really gorgeous art, full art. Each of them shows the different stylings, the different castings of magics. You've got some of that beautiful Witherbloom organic magic, some of that more Quandrix fractal magic for the full cycle here of all 5 lands.
And Reggie, I mean, obviously we know why these specific color pairings ended up in this set, but how did you all end up on this cycle of slow lands?
They just played really well the first time around. So we first saw these lands in Innistrad Midnight Hunt and Innistrad Crimson Vow. And feel like when we put them into that set, they were new, and it was one of those things where it's like, why didn't we try this yet? You know, it's just such a simple line, kind of reminiscent of, you know, fast lands or some of our other land cycles, but we just felt like the play patterns were really good, the power level was just about right, and it had been a little while since we had seen them in Standard, and so it felt like it was just a good landing spot.
Very cool. All right, our next Booster Fund treatment is Extended Art, and we're seeing a few cards that we saw earlier. Athena, where can you get Extended Art?
You can find these in collector boosters. It's really lovely.
Yeah, these are, we do these, I think, every set in collector boosters. Yeah, so.
Yes.
If you like more.
It wasn't an amazing thing when you talked about it, but
All right.
Extended Art, only
and then
in collectors.
Finally, I want to talk about the Mystical Archives. So, I think everyone should be initiated, but in case they're not, Athena, what is the Mystical Archives?
Yeah, so deep in the corner of the Biblioplex lives the Mystical Archive, which is a tomb which shows spells throughout Magic history, illustrated in illuminated manuscript the first time they're being cast. And so this is a bonus sheet, so it'll be one in every pack, where you can open it up and you'll be able to cast these spells in limited formats and really kind of, I don't know, I keep saying live the dream, but it really is. You get to live the dream of casting some of these fun spells that you never really thought you'd be able to cast before. And then you can add them to your collection later and put them into your commander decks.
Yeah. So how often, where are you going to be seeing these?
So the English version of the Mystical Archive on the left, it'll be one per pack in play boosters, as well sometimes in collector boosters you'll get some of the foil versions. There's also a Japanese Mystical Archive version, which in English booster packs is exclusive to collector boosters. If you are in Japan and opening play boosters, you'll get a small smattering of the Japanese Mystical Archive occasionally in play boosters, because it is Japan, and we think you should have the ability to play with cards in your own language.
Yep.
And then we have this beautiful Silver Scroll foil Mystical Archive, which is our collector booster exclusive. Absolutely gorgeous. I think we showed a little bit off in the debut, and I also think you might have some.
I have a few. If we want to go to the camera on me, I don't want to show me though, so I want to show these. If we are able to zoom in, that would be great. So this is Duty Before Death.
Can't see it. Didn't zoom in.
A little far away.
Good job.
So here is the Vampiric Tutor. Let's see if I can get closer.
Come on, cameraman.
Focus.
Like
they're pretty.
Gotta see them.
They're pretty.
So, all right, but yes, the foiling. So it's a little raised. It's a little bit textured. Here is, the Force of Will.
They have a really nice silver sheen to them, in addition to around the name of the card, as well as the type line and the text box. You get that raised silver, like piping, I think is what we call it internally. Sure. So it really glints and shines off of each other.
Yep, and there's that Duty Beyond Death. So, very cool. All right, those are all of the treatments. We do have one more thing before we go, which is Secrets of Strixhaven previews are obviously kicking off right now, and in order
will be a
to
lovely Pringle
fully
in 3
appreciate
weeks.
the set, we've invited a bunch of creators to partake and show off a bunch of content. So here are all of the creators who are going to be posting content. You can look for hashtag MTG Ambassador or hashtag MTG Partner on your favorite social media platform, and you'll find all of these fine folk making some really cool stuff and talking about Secrets of Strixhaven over the next 2 weeks as we roll through previews. So take a look for those. So thank you for tuning in to both the debut and the after show. Thank you, Athena. Thank you, Reggie. Any final thoughts on Secrets of Strixhaven before we go?
No, I hope everyone enjoys and loves the set as much as we do. It's been a real treat working on this, and I'm so excited to venture back into Arcavius and see what it has to offer.
Yeah, I mean, same. I'm just stoked, and so I hope you all love it.
Next week, we are going to be back with Shauna McGuire, the author of the Secrets of Strixhaven novel that is also coming out next week. And she and I are going to be going through the rest of the Mystical Archives, pretty much the rest of the Mystical Archives. So if you like the Mystical Archives, if you're interested in the fiction, or if you just like Shauna McGuire, who is a delightful human, please come back next week, same time. We'll see you then.
All right, guys. So that was it. Dan, do you like the art? You didn't like the art?
No, it's mid at best. The art is mid at best.
Well, I mean, it kind of follows suits with last Strixhaven set.
Well, you know,
stuff.
it just felt like the artist didn't have any like conviction in the set. They didn't feel the set. I mean, there was like a couple of cards that were really nice that they kept on showing back and forth, but then then they showed like some other cards, and it's like, really? Okay, yeah. Then they showed some of those pest cards, and I'm like, are those bad AI? Are they like using the worst AI that possible that they could have found on some of the pest cards I was looking at? And then I saw like one of the they had it was like crystal or something, a crystal card or something that went kind of they had side by side with a crystalline frog. The crystalline frog looked pretty good, or I don't remember what the name of it was, but they had and there was this crystal card that kind of had side by side with it, and it was like, okay, 8-year-old could have done better on the art. So it's like, you know, they weren't feeling, the artists weren't feeling it, and I have nothing good to say about the set.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of it's all right. Mechanically, the whole prepare thing is interesting. It is different for every creature. I'm bummed we didn't see the Dark Writ creature, but we may not get a Dark Writ on a creature.
Regarding mechanics, I'm not. I since I'm not a player, I'd be more interested in collecting certain cards. There are some cards that I do find that would be nice to have in a collection. If you're collecting for the reason I would collect. But then I was like, no, not really feeling like for like a handful of cards wouldn't want to waste money on it personally. It just I feel like Magic people are going to buy it because it's in universe, and that's probably the only reason why.
Well,
and mechanically,
for what you don't know, Dan, for what you don't know, Dan, old cards, the main chase besides obviously the collector or the serial number card that you can't read. I mean, it looks cool, great art, but you can't read it, and it's a complicated card. I think them doing that is like dumb.
Oh, are you talking about the one with that math mechanic?
No, the one with that sister recalls what they went after for the serialized. So, yeah, cool, but again, the art on it, you can't. There's no words. So.
Yeah, the one that had that complicated math mechanic, I really was like kind of like turned away. I left card games like Yu-Gi-Oh because of having to do complex math, you know, and the more math you have to do, the less likely I'm going to want to get into it. You know, I'm not going to want to sit there and hold on, let me grab a calculator and a piece of paper and an abacus, you know. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't be a douchebag and throw in like complicated math like that and do stuff like that. You're gonna piss people off. It pissed me off just seeing it. I mean, to be honest.
Well, in that regard, unless they go over the examples, it is kind of given to you. So it's not as complicated as you think on the one math card, but yeah, just seeing it can be.
I sat there and I tried to read it. I was sitting there trying to read that math card as they showed it up a couple of times. I'm like, no, I'm not getting, you know, I mean, that's worse than those cards that have front and back text, like the one that you showed me that one time. No. Let me play a game. Let me vacate my reality and play a game and not have to worry about reading long text or even playing long, trying to figure out math like to a complicated degree. I'm not sitting here playing a game trying to figure out algebra. Fuck you. You know, fuck that.
Oh,
you know, this whole set turned me away. Just to be honest, you know.
That's fair.
The art was mid. Not a big fan of that kind of mechanic on any game. The way they were trying to sell the game, not a big fan of that. Let's see more crossover IPs. I can go with Universes Beyond. There's a reason why I see why folks don't want to spend their money on MTG anymore. They killed D&D and they're going to kill Magic. Hasbro needs to step in and do something and stop the destruction.
Yeah, I hear you. Unfortunately, Magic is the last thing that's really producing money for Hasbro. So
no, Hasbro has a toy company that's very successful. Don't put that out there. All right.
No. Hold on. No. What is
Hasbro is one of the top 5 toy companies out there.
Really?
Yes.
What is successful besides
Hasbro?
No, I'm not attacking.
They have a huge successful toy company. Okay. They're one of the top 5 toy companies. Magic the Gathering's not holding up Hasbro. Hasbro would survive without Magic.
Okay. So what is
it survived for 70 years.
Oh,
I did all the research with this whole lawsuit.
Yeah. I know. Calm down, dude. Calm down.
What
is going for them besides Magic and Monopoly Go? And
no, they have toys, physical toys.
Oh, I know.
What's doing children?
Good? Yes.
Children around the world.
Yeah.
Magic the Gathering is a small niche compared to all the toys that Hasbro sells around the world.
Right.
Okay. And if they let them continue ruining this game, they're not going to even have a game. This game, I'm sorry, but this set is garbage. I wouldn't put it in a collection. I wouldn't want to put it in a collection of things that I collect.
Certainly. You're talking about the negatives, which is fine, Dan. The positives, which for you, you're mostly art. You're not a player.
The positives, it was mid.
There's 3. There's it. The main reprints that are Chase is Force of Will, and the other one Vampiric Tutor, and of course the card with Ancestral Recall is what they serialized without text, so you're not going to be playing with that serialized card. Not that you necessarily would anyways, but I mean, I kind of feel you, Dan. I'm trying to go right in the middle, so I'm not trying to be annoying, Dan. Just trying to be like, a typical cancer.
I hate when people just keep on saying, "Oh, well, Wizards what's holding up Magic." I mean, Wizards what's holding up Hasbro. It's not the fact. It's not a fact.
It's not a fact, Dan.
Not a fact.
But
not a fact at all. I did the numbers during that lawsuit.
Sure. And you did the numbers. What else was holding them up? They have Peppa Pig.
They have all the toy lines, every single toy line. One line,
but they're failing
because
of other reasons.
Not holding up the toy company. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you believe that, you're lying to yourself.
Okay.
Okay, you're lying to yourself and you're lying to your viewers. If you believe and you tell people that one card line is holding up a toy company that sells toys of every genre. What one toy? You want me to answer a question, what one toy, when the fact of the matter is a toy company makes money off of all toys, not one toy.
Right, Dan, and I would get into it further, but this isn't the time for that.
No, that's a fact.
No, I get you.
That is a fact.
I understand.
That's how a business runs.
There's some things, though, that I could probably pinpoint that you and I can argue later or on a different show.
I'm just saying that Hasbro needs to deal with this, or they're going to lose their only card line.
Exactly. They have a lot of things to deal with, including the FUBAR with D&D, as you know.
And they're going to even make that where it's a new news that came out with D&D, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just got the new news on D&D yesterday.
Yeah. It's Brie.
Apparently, what's his name's son is very WOKE.
Yeah, that's what I understand. But we'll see. Anyways, let me know, guys, if you guys are watching this later in the comments what you think about the set. I kind of like the Planeswalkers. They're not too complicated. Would I use them? I don't know. I don't know. But there is definitely a few creatures here and there and a few cards I like. But let me know later in the comments what you guys think about this set. Much appreciated. So far, Dan's kind of like a no. There are some cards I'd like to play with, but I don't feel the FOMO really. That's kind of, I don't really feel it. I don't know. Do you guys feel the FOMO? Are you like, oh my god, I have to get these ASAP? There's a couple cards here and there, but I have a feeling this is more of a singles set, right? Yeah, just pick up whatever singles that you need. I don't know. We're going to try here to do a collector box battle and maybe a few play battles. We still have one seat left for 78 if you guys are into collectors. We got to fill that. We also have the play battle we got to fill for about 19 a seat. You keep all your packs, battle for high and low to win some more. So if you guys want those details, let me know. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Dan, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Yeah. What's up, Superbacker? Hey. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll probably talk more in depth on the upcoming spoilers for Strixhaven on Thursday. So good times. And we'll have some special guests, is my understanding. Yeah, I know. You got here at the end. Of course. Yeah, well, comment later, Michael Subacker, if any of the cards really stood out for you. If there's anything that you're like, oh, bro, I need it all, let me know. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for hanging. Dan, sit tight for a minute. Other than that, I will talk to you all later. Bye. Bye.